All right, what's up, guys? Anthony here, Special Analysis. Welcome to the video. Appreciate each and every one of you for being here. If you like this content, please like the video. Please consider subscribing to the channel. Helps me reach more retail traders to share my struggles so that they can overcome the battle of becoming profitable more quickly. So, we touch on light sweet crude pretty much every day. We're going to touch on it right now. I want to talk about kind of how I navigated it this morning. Came to the market this morning. It was about 6:30, and you can see we're in this awesome push higher. And I'm like, all right, we got some overhead resistance. Let's see what kind of happens. We'll see if we run out of steam. Gone quite a long way. So by the time 7:30 rolled around, you could see we started the process here of making some lower highs. So very uniquely, I saw this break of this nice three-touch trend line. I saw a retest of it. I saw another retest of it. I'm like, all right, if the high is in, this area will hold. So it did. Came down, ran to the rolling VWAP, got a little support, played in between the VWAPs, started setting some lower highs. We break out of the lower highs, find some really great resistance here at the rolling VWAP. But right now, we're kind of stuck, right? We take this really aggressive push into support. We get a big reversal candle, and then we're stuck once again between this support structure and the VWAP. Well, ultimately, we fall out of that taking a awesome, quick, fast, very precise dump to the downside here. And I navigated all this live while we were in the live analysis room. And then we get a strong reversal. We get a lot of absorption coming in here. And market turns around, big reversal. We take a big impulse, consolidation around the VWAPs. You can see they're like laying on top of one another here. Push up, we retest this area, get a couple strong reversals, and ultimately push back down to put in a slightly higher low. And what looks like we're putting in potentially a slightly lower high. So a lot of back and forth here on crude. The real kind of sustained rally transpired during the overnight, and then we really had to kind of fight price within during the day. But some key reversals identified here by these arrows, some key continuation here, some areas of absorption and things of that nature identified as well. Overall, I don't want to call it a bad day. It was profitable, but it was definitely taxing to kind of play this back and forth game. That is what it is, right? Every day is going to be different. That's kind of what sets traders apart, is those who can adapt to different changes. And maybe some of the trades I took today, I should have just stayed out of altogether. But I really like this drop in. I was a little late to this reversal, and I hesitated, so didn't play out the way I wanted it to. But this, I had a really great read on placing these lower highs, holding the VWAPs, and then this really just aggressive push down here into support. I told my traders 84.20 to 84.10 is going to supply support for us here. 84.15 comes in, and we reverse really strong. So took my profits, really calculated, little hesitant to jump back in. Again, maybe I didn't play the upside as well as I probably could have, but I was really happy with my downside results. Overall, profitable day. So I am happy even with all this kind of whipsaw that transpired. Now, onto the S&P 500, guys, because we called this reversal flawlessly. This was at 8:30 in the morning. We got together, markets in a multiple time frame downtrend here. I told my traders, I'm like, listen, if we break these stacked pivots right here, these are stacked. There's an array of time frames that are generating these pivots. If we break them, and more particularly retest them and prove them to be resistance, we probably continue to the downside based on how the higher time frame momentum looks. And that's exactly what we happened. I mean, we literally talked about this correction right here, that if it holds, we're probably selling off. Now, through the opening bell and the opening range here, got 125 ticks, dipped down here into about 154. And then you could see the market here started going choppy. We had talked about kind of once we dipped out of the opening range here, probably running out of steam, really kind of this long-term downtrend. Again, you never know when it's going to stop, but it looked like it started getting exhausted here in this area, where here we were putting consecutive lower highs and lower lows in, and we were literally very specifically looking. Let me see if I can zoom in here. Very specifically looking for, notice how there's a bunch of stacked pivots here. Okay? We're very specifically looking for a retest of these stacked pivots. So we broke, we pulled back, we retested, and that was it. Right? We never looked back. We went almost down in a straight line till the opening bell for about an hour. Every time you hit one of these pivots, you just take more profit. Okay? So we hit, what did we hit? 4 pivots there. So you got pivot number 1, 40 ticks. Pivot number 2, 80 ticks. Pivot number 3, 134 ticks. Then we ran out of steam down here around 154 ticks. So not a bad morning. Really beautiful multiple time frame trending setup here on the S&P. Guys, this is what I advocate for my traders, waiting for that multiple time frame momentum, trading with the trend. Does this come along very often? It does not. But especially for somebody who's new, if you're willing to be patient when these setups occur, you really can get a super, super nice move out of them. Now, I want to show you gold. And it didn't play out well, but I want to talk about how we kind of calculated it. So gold made a double top here, one at 5:30 this morning and one here at 9:48. And then we took this really aggressive push. And I said to them, like, listen, if we get a pullback and a retest here of these two lower highs, we could push back. First objective, obviously, this very big candle that we failed to follow through on. But if we push through that to this pivot, so this is the importance of looking left, because I said to him, I'm like, listen, we got all the way up here, and I'm like, hey, we're stalling, right? This is a great spot to take some profit, move your stop to break even. If it's a little bump and run trade, it's a bump and run. I mean, this had multiple time frames, not as established as the S&P to the downside, but very calculated. Price above the fast-moving averages, multiple time frame momentum, retest of what was previously appointed resistance now serves as support, and we get a little bump out of it. Is this a great trade as far as like running forever and ever? No, but if you're a leverage trader and this is a setup that you employ, like you shouldn't have any problem, with a heavy position size coming in, testing this area here, pulling it back to that prior high for a quick 60, 70 ticks. Like, that's nothing to shake a stick at. Okay, now this doesn't look nearly as impressive as the S&P 500, but don't be, don't count yourself out, guys. There's every bit of 50 ticks there. That's a great day's pay with a handful of contracts. So again, we nailed this one also, right? We talked about this while it was transpiring, talked about what the risks were, talked about a retest entry, looking for confirmation of support, and then looking here to this high to start taking profits. And that's exactly what transpired. So that's kind of the way this morning shaked out. I normally just kind of talk about the trades I took, but I want to talk about, kind of the things that we identified real time as well, so that you can kind of just see how it all played out. But Crude had this, again, crazy run to the upside. We pulled back, set lower highs along the way. And then this reversal, reversal was so calculated, so identifiable, and it just absolutely turned and ran. So, that's it, guys. I just wanted to kind of give you guys a quick recap. Rainy day here on the New York Eastern Seaboard. Kind of crappy weather out. So, good day to get caught in front of the computer, capture some of these profits, and, serve my clients well with identifying that push down on both, not only the Nasdaq, but the S&P, but the Nasdaq as well. So just want you guys to take into account, like when the right here at 8:30, when the S&P retested and sold off, the Nasdaq did exactly the same, right? And we very often lean on the S&P for making Nasdaq decisions. And the Nasdaq ran to this pivot down here. We're talking 800 ticks, okay? So I'm not one here to blow smoke, but like at 800 ticks, first profit over 100, 170, 270, 382, 620. This last pivot down here, over 800 ticks to the downside, buying this pullback, identical analysis on both the Nasdaq and the S&P. So, guys, that's what I do. Like, I provide analysis. What you do with it is ultimately up to you. But I analyze all four of these markets: crude oil, Nasdaq, S&P, and gold. Some of these we hedge against one another. But ultimately, what we do is we analyze multiple time frames: price action, volume, interpretation, order flow, level 2, book map. Like, we look at all that stuff, and that's how we're able to depict when, where, and how some of these price actions are able to transpire for my clients who join me live, right? It's one thing to be part of a Discord and get like typed updates about, hey, this is happening, blah, blah, blah. But it's another thing for somebody to be live with you and go, hey, this is what I see. This is the risk. This is the potential reward. This is what's happening right now in this moment. And then all of that can change in a split second. And it allows me to say, hey, listen, X, Y, and Z is happening, so this may affect this, right? That's why I don't do a Discord. I'm not a Discord kind of guy. I rather just be absolutely 150% live and be able to communicate with you exactly what I'm seeing, when, where, and why, what the potential opportunity might be, what the potential risk associated with it might be, so that you can make educated decisions for yourself. So again, I appreciate each and every one of you. I will see you in the next video. Have a blessed day, and I'll talk to you then.